Stephanie, and welcome back to my channel. So today I have a recent reads, books 101 to 110, so let's just jump right in. Book 101 is The High King's Tomb by Kristen Britton. This is book 3 in the Green Rider series. I read this as part of the Green Rider read-along, hosted by Fina at Fina Reads, and this is such a fun series. It's fantasy and it's set in a magical world, and they have green riders, and they're the magical messengers of the king. And so since this is the third installment, I won't really give a ton of details, but it was a really good progression on the plot from the first two books. I did think it was a hair long, but I think that was more my headspace and not really the book's fault. It's 700 pages, but it was really, really good, and it made me excited to move on to the next book in the series. Next, I read The Rocky Road to Ruin, which is book number 1 in the Ice Cream Shop Mystery Series by Mary Allen. And in this one, we follow Riley Rhodes. She is a travel food blogger and librarian at the CIA, and she returns home to Connecticut to help run the ice cream shop. Dead body turns up. She gets involved in the investigation. Things go from there. This was a solid middle of the road cozy for me. I will continue the series at some point because I did enjoy my time reading it, but it's not my favorite. Next, I read Grounds for Murder, which is book 1 in the Coffee Lovers Mystery Series by Tara Lush. And this is set in Florida, and it's in a small town of Devil's Beach, and we follow Lana Lewis. She is a barista, and at the very beginning of the book, her best and most difficult employee goes missing. He abruptly quits and goes to work for the competition just a few days before this huge championship that is about to occur. Then he is found dead the next morning under a palm tree behind Lana's cafe, so she becomes the main suspect. I really enjoyed this one. I loved the coffee setting. Normally I don't like Florida settings that much. It's just never really appealed to me. But this setting and the way that Tara Lush wrote it really made me want to visit Devil's Beach. And I loved the characters. The police chief is so swoony, and I love their friendship / budding love interests. It's so much fun. She's got a hippie dad, and there's a Shih Tzu named Stanley, and it's just so much fun. So highly recommend this series. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and as soon as I finished it, I immediately wanted to go back and reread it because it was so much fun. Next, I read The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. This is book 1 in the Dandelion Dynasty series. I loved this so much. It's fantasy, kind of based on Chinese history. I do have a full spoiler-free review for it that I'll link, but basically there's an uprising against the emperor, and 2 friends who had a falling out are now on opposite sides, and things go from there. It's beautifully written. The characters are phenomenal. I loved the world building. It was 5 out of 5 stars for me. Absolutely loved it. Next, I read Cold Brew Corpse, which is book 2 in the Coffee Lovers Mystery Series by Tara Lush. I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. Once again, fantastic characters, setting was great, swoony love interest, great mystery, and her coffee shop's name is Purgatory, which I just love. Next, I read Comic Sans Murder, which is book 3 in the Dangerous Type series by Paige Shelton. I gave this one 3 stars. I liked it more than the previous book, but it's not my favorite. It's set in Star City, Utah, at a typewriter / book repair shop, Again, there's a murder. There's just nothing that really stood out to me about the series. It was perfectly fine. It just wasn't anything special. So I won't reread it, but I didn't hate my time reading it, if that makes sense. Next, I read Cheddar Off Dead, which is book number 1 in the Cheese Shop Mystery Series by Karina Moss. I loved this so much. This was her cozy series debut. And we follow cheesemonger Willa. And she moves to the Sonoma Valley and opens a cheese shop, Curds and Whey. And I loved the setting. I loved the cheese shop. And this reviewer or food critic that was in her store is found murdered, and he was stabbed with one of her shop's cheese knives. So she is prime suspect. I just thought this was so much fun. The characters were great. The setting was great. I am obsessed with cheese, so the theme was just a buzzword for me. And I just had so much fun with it, and I'm really looking forward to book 2, Gone for Gouda. Gouda is one of my favorite cheeses, so I just want to recommend this to everyone. It was fantastic. Next, I read Flared Stiff, which is book 5 in the Bonnie and Clyde mystery series by Julianne Lindsay. Once again, we're following Bonnie and her cat Clyde. They get involved in a murder. This one was a ton of fun. So Bonnie is celebrating the big 4-0. The local love guru at her birthday party is confronted by a client's spouse who is displeased with one of her predictions, and the love guru excuses herself to kind of go sort it out. And then in the morning, the man who confronted her is dead and is stabbed with a cake knife. So Bonnie and her friends help solve the murder. Once again, I just love the setting of Bliss, Georgia. The characters are great. Clyde is a little cinnamon roll kitty cat. I love him. And I gave that book 5 out of 5 stars. Next, I read The Wilful Princess and the Piebald Prince. This is a novella in the Realm of the Elderling series, and it's kind of a prequel, and we get some of the history behind the Farseer series and the lore behind some of the terms used in the Realm of the Elderlings. And I thought this was so beautifully written. It wasn't overly long. It was 184 pages. It was the perfect length. And I just really enjoyed the lore and the world building. And Hobbs' writing is just impeccable. So I gave that one 5 out of 5 stars. And finally, I read Death in Bloom, which is book number 1 in the Flower House mystery series by Jess Dillon. And this is set in a flower shop, and the flower shop owner is Sierra Ravenswood, and it's set in Tennessee. So she has moved back to her hometown after her dream of making it as a singer in Nashville crashed and burned. Then a customer drops dead in the middle of her bouquet arranging workshop. She gets involved in the mystery. Things go from there. I enjoyed this one. I had fun with it, but it wasn't a new favorite. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, but I did enjoy it enough to continue on with the series. So those are books 101 to 110. Let me know if you've read any of these. If so, let me know down below. If you'd like to leave an emoji, leave a flower emoji. As always, if you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button if you'd like. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.